So there's these things called black swan events. And basically, it's this idea that there are things in the future that you cannot predict, of course, outside of prophetic vision, right? But there's things you cannot predict that occur, and they've not necessarily happened before, or if they have happened before, there's no good way to predict when they'll happen, right? So, like, let's say a stock market crash could be a black swan event, like especially a really horrific market crash could be a black swan event, because yeah, it has happened before, but you don't know when the next really horrific one is going to occur. So that'd be an example of a black swan event. But then it can just be totally unforeseen. I think it can apply to both like negative and positive things. Would be my understanding of a black swan event, but maybe it's primarily negative. I'm not sure. But in some ways, that's what's uh, I guess it's what you know, can be terrifying about the future is that you don't know ahead of time what all those black swan events are going to be. At the same time, you don't know what all the, what all the bad black swan events will be, right? But you also don't know what all the good black swan events might be. And so, in some ways, it's in some ways, not knowing the future is actually a lot of what makes life fun, maybe. um, but yeah, it is interesting to think about. I had an experience some years ago where um, one of my friends, who I used to go to church with, he had a dream, and in that dream, God told him that he had 1 year to live, and so that was his understanding of what he heard, and so he related that to me, and I'm like, wow, I mean, this is some pretty heavy stuff. And so now, to leap ahead, to get past the cliffhanger here, he is still living now, and it's been much more than a year. So, um, maybe it was a warning, and maybe through the prayers of him and his wife, maybe that that date was God changed, allowed his mind to be changed, and that changed. I don't know, but what was the thing that was interesting about it was, um, you think that when you have some time left over with somebody before they pass, and I don't know what it's like so much with like the terminal illness thing. I've never really experienced that close to me. Um, but in this case, I had a real life sort of test case of like, someone's time. I mean, you know, I mean, I didn't know for sure, right? But it seemed like his time was drawing to a close, and I was like, well, what should we be doing together? Like what should how are we gonna like how is our friendship different, or how do we change what we do? Do we get together more? Do we get together and talk about different things? Like how do we do? And it was kind of strange because I kind of realized that there was like in some ways there was nothing additional or special to do, if you will. Um, and I don't quite I struggle a little bit to articulate, I guess, what I felt with that. But um, it's kind of like at the end of the day, there's not even when you have limited time with someone. I don't know if there's a lot to do besides. I mean, you can take the relationship deeper. You can have more discussions and discuss different things. In the case of family members, sometimes maybe there's some transactions occurring or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like the only thing to do with someone is just to be with them. Like that's kind of what it feels like, right? Because there's no way like making more memories with someone doesn't it doesn't make them stay longer, right? It doesn't delay the time of their passing. Having deeper conversations doesn't delay the time of their passing necessarily. Like, it doesn't really make a difference on any of that. Um, And then, assuming that both of you are Christians, you also get all of eternity, then also, right? To catch up, if you will. So, in the meantime, when you know your time's limited, what is there to do except just to be together and to live life, you know? Um, I don't know. I'm sure people have thought about this more than I have, and maybe you are one of those people and you have some good insights for me. I would be open to that. Um, but there is a certain, it's kind of fascinating being as an eternal being. Here we are. We've got this moment in time. This time is fleeting and passing, and yet there's no shortage of time. We're eternal beings. We're going to be alive and conscious for the rest of eternity. So, um, I don't know. This has been a little bit of a disjointed one here, so I apologize. But maybe it's stimulated an interesting thought for you.